When you do nothing, nothing happens. Best time to take action is now.
This is the time to work on you and your business.
So I've created a group,
An online academy for professionals and entrepreneurs. Power Partners will help you
to start helping yourself.
Helped me change my life and my business.
Not a Toastmasters, it's not a BNI, it's not any of these, but it is. So it's all this stuff in one place.
Get the results that you deserve right now. So what are you waiting for? Let's make it happen.
see you in Power Partners.
Good Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. We're going to talk to Nancy not only about the re-release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
Good morning. Bonjour. Comment ça va? Et toi? Ça va très bien. Ni hao. Hola. Buongiorno. Bienvenue. Wan Ying. Bienvenidos. Benvenuta. And welcome. Welcome to another exciting episode of Gem Hunter Stories. My name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And each and every week, I get a wonderful opportunity to take you on a journey to places you've never been before, to hear stories you've never heard before. Each week, I am so blessed because I get one magnificent moment to take you on a mental, physical, and spiritual adventure into the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones, precious metals, and fine jewelry. Gemstones have been a part of human history from the very beginning. And what I want to do is take those stories and use them as a template, as a bridge, as an inception point to empower you to begin to discover the value of your own stories. Wow. It's November 30th, the last day of the month. Barbara, bring up my screen for me, please. And I want to first of all welcome to all you who are brand new to the Gem Hunter Show. This is my new lab, so excuse those of you used to my background. This is my brand new laboratory and studio here. Of course, you'll see it develop and build. And because it's the last day of the month, the last day of November, I wanted to just take you on a different type of journey to help you, especially those of you who are new to Gem Hunter Stories, just to see how it all comes together. I think one of the most incredible things that you can do in your life is to get to the point where you become aware. You begin to know. I was looking at a picture of myself. This is me. 10 years ago when I first started teaching. And because I was moving, you discover things that you see. And I saw this picture and I just had to say to myself, wow. I remember when I took that picture, and I remember just the joy that I felt and the fear that I felt in being a teacher, having the responsibility of working with young minds. And when I saw this picture, it made me think of the word that we talk about all the time on this show, which is awareness. Awareness is that moment for those of you who don't watch my show all the time. And please subscribe. Please subscribe. A lot of people watch the show, but just subscribe. You don't have to watch it all the time, but just subscribe. That helps the numbers and the algorithms, things like this. So, but awareness is when you get to that point, when you realize that this is not something that you can do. This is something that you have to do. So in that vein, I wanted to do a show today entitled The Moment When You Know That You Know What You Know. Let me say it again. The moment when you know that you know what you know. And I want to put that, since this is called Gem Hunter Stories, what I do for those of you who are new and those of you who still haven't gotten it yet, there is a direct and indirect correlation to a lot of the things that you see and experience about gemstones, because gemstones have to be not only just a substance, but because of what gemstones do, because of what people have done with gemstones from the beginning of time, there has to be a connection. And that's what this show is about. How to, not just to make the scientific connection, but also the metaphysical connection. 2 weeks ago, well, literally this whole month, we've been talking about citrine. And this is the month of November. And November actually has 2 gemstones. And last couple of weeks, we talked about citrine. And I told you that citrine, this is citrine, beautiful, beautiful gemstone. And I told you, and you notice the difference is a little more yellowish highlights than, let's say, peridot. And this is citrine is what's called an allochromatic gemstone. Citrine is basically quartz. It's quartz that has been that has been heated. And what citrine has been for thousands of years is a gemstone of manifestation. And we talked about that, how manifestation happens. And the thing that you need to take away from citrine is just quartz. Citrine is silicon dioxide. But for thousands of years, people have believed that that gemstone, that citrine, is the gemstone of manifestation. It's a gemstone of a power of will, an increased creative imagination. That's what citrine is supposed to do. And what we're going to talk about is I'm going to show you how that relates to you. So citrine is citrine is actually more of a newer gemstone in the whole universe of gemstones in people's months or birthstones. I told you that citrine is a gemstone that most citrine that you see natural citrine is rare. The citrine that you see, 90%, 95% of the citrine out there is basically amethyst that has been heated to about 800 to 1,000 degrees to make various different colors of citrine. So the heat is the antagonist. The heat, one of the things I need you to get from citrine is that citrine becomes what it becomes because of the antagonist. The antagonist is the heat, and the antagonist is the intense heat at 1,000 degrees. So that means that if you think about it from a historical point of view, ovens didn't heat to 1,000 degrees until much later in history. So the citrine that they saw, the ancient people would see, would be natural citrine, which is very, very rare. That's one. Two, that whatever the processes that it took to make that citrine, natural citrine, become about, has the sun or the heat of the earth. That's natural. So that's the antagonist. Think about that in your life. The things that you're going through in your life is your antagonist. But those are the things that will mold you. You know, people always use the analogy of, iron sharpens iron, or they use diamonds, but that's just one level. That's just one level of how transformation happened, how the antagonist hits you. So amethyst becomes citrine because of heat. And again, as I said, citrine is the gemstone of manifestation. When you hold it, when you think about it, when you wear it, it helps you. It works with your third chakra, and it helps you manifest the things that you dream about. The next gemstone that we're going to talk about is topaz. Topaz is the original gemstone for November. Topaz is basically, I like to think of topaz as the big sister, of that, because topaz, this is topaz, and it's natural. It's an orthorhombic shape. Okay, this is the chemical composition of topaz. You don't have to memorize it. Okay, basically, it's an aluminum silicate iron. I don't even remember how to say the whole word, but this is the chemical composition of topaz. And the thing that makes topaz is extremely rare as well. In fact, topaz is normally not even treated. Topaz is what it is. It is what it is. And the thing that makes topaz to me so amazing, topaz has a hardness of 8. So when you talk about on the scale, the mole scale of hardness, topaz is an 8. Just to give you some reference, sapphires and rubies are a 9, and diamonds are a 10. And when you think of the mole's hardness scale, it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not like that. It's literally exponential. So the difference between a 7 and an 8 is more than just one step. The difference between an 8 and a 9 is more than one step. The difference between a 9 sapphire and a 10 is like 7, 8 steps. So when I say an 8, a topaz is a very durable gemstone. Remember we talked about the thing that makes a gemstone: beauty, rarity, durability, desirability, and value. And value. Those are the things that make a gemstone a gemstone. What makes topaz really interesting is that most people consider topaz a semi-precious stone. You know, we always talk about the big ones: diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, pearls. We talk amethyst. Everybody has amethyst in their house. There's a little, you always see those geos and people have it seems like sometimes the first gemstone people get is the amethyst. But so we talk about amethyst over here, and we talk about diamonds, rubies, sapphires as precious stones. But topaz is more than that. Topaz is exactly what I'm talking about when I say the moment that you know what you know. The moment that you know what you know. Because topaz, because it's the gemstone for November, topaz is also a gemstone of manifestation. That's the original gemstone of manifestation. Topaz has been used for thousands of years, mostly by royalty. That's how powerful it was. But what topaz is that people don't realize is topaz is the gemstone of manifestation and the gemstone of spirituality. And there's a difference. There's a difference between just manifestation and when manifestation is tied into spirituality. It's a completely different place. You can describe it in different ways. Some people call it being in the zone. Some people talk about it from a religious point of view, talking about God working through them. For me, topaz is not topaz, spirituality, that connection between manifestation and spirituality, I've always called the force. My understanding of what we're talking about right now and how spirituality and manifestation and stories work really started for me from the whole concept of Star Wars. Bear with me, please. Don't turn off your computer. Because I've never really explained this before. In fact, I asked my executive producer, Barbara, who has known me for years, I said, Barbara, why do you think I like Star Wars? And she said, you know what, Barry, I really don't know. So, and I thought about it as I was preparing for this show. What does it mean to me? How has Star Wars is more than a religion, more than a movie to me. It's a religion for me. It's a whole way of thinking. The thing that I like about Star Wars wasn't, and I said this in 2009 in my first Toastmaster speech, the thing that got me about Star Wars wasn't the ships or the customs or even the lightsabers. It wasn't that. For me, it was the whole concept of the Force. That a group of people could be so strong and so have so much conviction to what they believed in. Something that you couldn't see, something that you couldn't touch, but they believed in it so much that they were able to manifest whatever they wanted. Meaning, and the thing that you have to understand about Jedi Knights. Oh, first of all, let me back up. When Obi-Wan, you watch the first Star Wars, the first thing he says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first thing he says is that, Luke, the Force is an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us, it binds us, it brings the galaxy together. That's what it says. So literally, everyone had access to the Force, but there was a group of people who believed in it so much, who understood it on such a higher level that they knew that it would be there for them whenever they wanted. So when you take manifestation, the concept of manifestation, and you believe that it's going to happen, that's a whole different level. That's when you begin to know that you know what you know. When those of you who watch Star Wars or seen commercials and stuff, a Jedi can just reach out and all of a sudden this bottle will come to them. You notice that there was never any hesitation to getting to that place. This is all these, just to let you know, this is topaz. And the thing about the reason why I'm showing you different colors, because a Jedi came in a variety of talents. Each Jedi had his or her different talent and ability. They knew what they can do. Everybody talks about, not everybody, but I do, Darth Vader. Darth Vader's real talent, or Anakin, who he was Darth Vader was very, very good, excuse me, at fixing things. He could see, he had a mechanical mind. He could fix and fly anything. He was literally the greatest pilot in the galaxy. And that was his talent. There was no question in his mind of what he could do. So when you go back to topaz is considered a semi-precious stone. But yet topaz, if you really understand topaz is like the coolest gemstone in the world, because the topaz just knows. It knows its value. It understands that it's an 8. That means when you say that you're an 8 in hardness, that means that nothing can cut you, can scrape you, can scratch you, can blemish you lower than an 8. Only a 9 can scratch an 8. Only a 10 can scratch an 8. And even though topaz is considered a semi-precious stone, people who understand topaz, understands what it's made out of, understands that this is a gemstone of spirituality and of manifestation and spirituality. It knows. Imagine getting to that point in your life where you just know. And it's amazing to me. One of the great things that I get a chance to do as a gemological storyteller is I listen to stories. And what amazes me about stories is how many people don't really understand the value of what they do. They don't understand that we're so busy being judged by other people that it diminishes, at least for many people in our minds, who we are. We live in a world where you can go through all these processes and training and education. It's like, and you have, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you've gone through years of training. No, let's make it even. You're a bus driver for the Chicago Transit Authority. You know how to drive a bus that seats, 100 people. You drive through congested streets every day. I don't know how to drive a bus. That takes training. That takes an understanding. First of all, you have to like what you do. I hope. There are people who drive. Man, the other day who drove a bus, and I said, "How long you been driving?" He said 30 years, and you could see the pride. I drive a bus. I've been driving that bus for 30 years. It's just like topaz. Topaz understands that it is. This is blue topaz. Blue topaz does not happen naturally. Well, it's very, very rare, again. But the way they make blue topaz is they have to irradiate it with literally 10,000, 10 million electron volts. You don't even need to understand the science of that. Just understand 10 million electron. Remember your science? Protons, electrons, neutrons. 10 million electron volts it takes to make blue topaz. If you were blue topaz and you had to go through 10 million electron volts to become who you are, would you be so concerned about somebody thinking, well, it's just semi-precious? No. If you are a teacher and you've gone through years of your life training, teaching, standing in a classroom, being there, and you were there because you knew something inside of you knew that this is where you were supposed to be, and you endured and learned and did all these things, 10 million electron life volts. And everybody, you may not be celebrated, but you know who you are when you know that you know what you know. I have a friend, and I don't always want to put her on blast, but you know who you are. I have a friend who's a social worker. And when I never used to think about social work. It was like, okay. Even the name sounds like, okay. Social work. It's nice. But when she talks about social work, it makes you think to yourself, man, I should have been a social worker. I missed out. Because when she speaks about it, you hear the empathy, you hear the concern, you hear the honest care that she takes in dealing with, and you can even hear it from patients that she talks about she did when she did it 10, 20, 30 years ago. You can hear it. And you say to yourself, wow, whoever that person was cared for. I know, and I'm going to put her on blast. One of my best students, Marie Meeks. Marie Meeks is a flight attendant, and Marie Meeks is, and I've talked about her before, but she's that person that just understands who she is. You may not see her, on Twitter or Facebook and everything else, just whatever. But if you're on an airplane and you're flying 30,000 feet in the air, where, you know what can happen. And you got someone like Marie sitting there telling you point blank, you're going through all kinds of turbulence, bags and everything else, the oxygen mask comes down. And Marie is the kind of person that will tell you, it's okay, sir. It's going to be okay. That's a Jedi. That's topaz. When what you manifest, what you want it to be, what you trained for, now you get to the point of understanding. That's where you're supposed to be. That's what I saw. And you may not, that's what I saw when I saw my picture. I didn't even know that I was going to do this. I had no idea. And now, 10 years later, I look back and I realize all the things that led up to this moment. I think about November, as I told you before, this October, November, especially December, was the months that I began to really understand that I was coming into homelessness. As I told somebody the other day, actually a priest, really, we were talking about it. And I said, the thing that people don't understand about homelessness is that it doesn't just happen. It's not an on and off switch. It's a gradual movement. It's like a perfect storm. And I remember clearly 30 years ago, realizing that my options were getting less and less and less. The bills were piling up. I was sick. I lost my job. all kinds of things. And then by December, I was homeless. I was already there. And what has gotten me to where I am today is not only understanding how stories help you manifest. Stories help you manifest. Let me say it again. Stories is the way you manifest the things that you want in your life. You got to believe it. When I say stories, I'm not just talking about Hansel and Gretel or Little Red Riding Hood. I'm talking about your story. How did you get to where you are? How did you get to doing the things that you do? And when you get to that point, we'll talk about where you can go, what you can do with that when we come back from the other side.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that they're all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming. You know, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
All right, we're back. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly, she understood what she is. She understood. Remember, Serena Buffalina is a teacher. She was a teacher in Canada. Okay, she is a teacher in Canada, and yet there was something inside of her that wanted to do more. She was already teaching. You remember some of the old commercials that she was teaching special needs kids, and she took that. Still wasn't so much it was enough. She knew that she could do more, so she inspired the kids in her class, to create this relationship with kids in Haiti. And now Healing for Humanity is something that came from her mind, came from her spot. And even though she's going through, if you don't know the political stuff going on in Haiti and economic things going, it's horrible. But yet she knows that she knows what she knows. That's what this show is about. This show is about, and thank you again for those of you who have watched 3 years. I can't believe we've been here 3 years. And I really hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe. Please send comments, because your comments really help me grow. You know, I want gemstones. I want the concept to be real for you. I want you to understand. And I really have to think about it. I have to say, how does this work? How does topaz? I never really thought about topaz. It wasn't really until this show actually thinking, okay, you have citrine. Citrine is the gemstone of manifestation. What's topaz? And I have to step back and say, okay, what is it? That's why it's called Gem Hunter Stories, because I have to find, where's the connection? What is it about this gemstone that people believe in, that people see? When you see this pink colored topaz, what does it mean to you? It's not this one. It's different, right? Totally different. Those of you who have eyes this color, this might relate to you differently than someone who is into more of a pink color. What does it mean? And if you wore this gemstone on your hand, on your neck, on your ears, it comes with a story. You either bit yourself, someone gave it to you, it was a symbol of a special day, but that topaz, and maybe you got it because you understood it was a gemstone of manifestation and spirituality. And that business that you want to open, that you imagine opening this business, and then that business, so that's how when you tell that story in your head, when you begin to think to yourself, what does this business look like? What type of impact will my product have on people's lives? And you manifest that stuff. And that's citrine, but when you add in the spirituality, or not so much add in, but when you begin to understand how you got here, how God put something inside of you to make this become real. That's when you begin to understand the similarity, the analogies between gemstones and people. All gemstones is a microcosm of who we are as people, as human beings. What can we manifest? And you're going to get closer to that manifestation that you want when you believe. And what are you believing in? You have to believe in the story. You have to believe in the story. And again, I don't read the Bible. I don't necessarily go to church, but I know 30 years later, I know as a testimony that I'm here at 62 years of age. I'm still here because of what the story that the universe, that God put inside of me in little tiny different packets. Star Wars, As a Man Thinketh, so many different things. And it was those stories. Think about it. That line, that quote that I quote from As a Man Thinketh all the time. He dreams of better things. So when you are understanding the power of stories, it's all about the thing that stories take you to is that level of understanding and seeing how what you manifest, what you want to manifest. How does it look? How does it feel? When I graduated from Northwestern in the teacher program, I knew science. Science is like the way sports is for a lot of people. I just love it. Given the choice between watching the Science Channel and Monday Night Football, I probably watch the Science Channel. I'm a nerd. That's all. I love football, but if given a choice, yeah, I'm gonna watch the science program. And so I knew that, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I didn't know how I was going to manifest it. I just knew that inside of me, there was still this little kid. And those of you who know me know that I'm just a big kid. I really am. 62 probably, and still like 12 inside of me, That's what I knew. And that story, that's how you know. You just like a gemstone, if a topaz, if I'm looking at a stone, if I'm looking at this stone I don't know if this stone is a ruby with a whole lot of pink coloration. I don't know if this stone is a spinel. I don't know if this stone is a tourmaline. I don't know. I don't know what this stone is until I figure out what it is. What is this made out of? How did it get to becoming that? Is it trichronic or pleochronic? Pleochronic means that it has different colors depending on the angle that you look at it. And I have to take, as a gemologist, as an appraiser, I have to look at that gemstone and take it through various tests to see, to understand that that is topaz. Topaz used to be the name called for any yellow stone. Yellow, brown stone, topaz. Citrine, I mean, that's citrine. Peridot used to be in the topaz family. Until people started to understand what it is. And then once they understood what it is, the story changed. The understanding of what it can do. That's what you have to do. You have to understand that. And the most beautiful thing about understanding, getting to that point in your life where you just know that you know what you know. It's just a sense of peace. Things that used to bother me, things that used to just hurt my feelings because of just my own understanding of who I don't bother me anymore. Because like a topaz, I know I may not be, whatever the standard is for that day, some star, some movie, whatever, some look, but I'm me. I'm me. And the question is not making myself, carrying myself with other gemstones, understanding that the Barry B. Mixon gemstone is what I interact with the light in a different way than you do. Whether it be good or bad, I interact with the light. And there are people who are looking at this gemstone, this topaz. This is topaz. This is one of the varieties of topaz. And if you saw this gemstone, you might think it's sapphire. You might think it's tanzanite, but it's actually topaz. And you have to, when you bought this, when you received this, you bought it because someone told you a story, or you created a story in your mind of what this gemstone makes. It's topaz, but it's purple. Purple. Can't say that word. Purple. And because it's purple and you love the color purple and you enjoy the powers of manifestation that this gemstone is supposed to give you, and you understand that this is a gemstone of manifestation and spirituality, now you have you tell a different story. That gemstone radiates a different type of energy because you believe. Because you believe. That's the thing. You believe it. You understand that this purple is different, or bluish purple is different than this purple. Both of them are topaz. Both of them have the exact same chemical composition, but they're different. So it doesn't take away this being a purplish, lavender color, doesn't take away from what this is. This is more of what the traditional topaz looks like. It doesn't take it away. It doesn't mean anything less than if you truly understand what it is. It might be semi-precious to somebody else, but if that is the gemstone that your mother gave you, that your grandfather gave you, if that was the gemstone you got married in November and you decided to have topaz as your ring, it has, because you wanted to manifest love. You wanted to manifest a wonderful relationship. You wanted to manifest a life with this man or this woman. And that gemstone manifested, and you attained that you wanted to manifest that whatever you wanted on a spiritual level, then you would buy topaz. Maybe some of you might listen to my show today and be impressed of 10 million electron volts to create blue topaz. It's irradiated to a higher level, a higher power. Maybe that's what you had to go through in your life. Maybe that's who you are. Maybe when you put on that dress, so when you put on that, and I'm always going to talk to the ladies, you know this. But the guys don't get your feelings hurt, okay? But when you put on that dress, ladies, when you put on that heel, when you do your makeup, your hair, your nails, that's that irradiation. When you're out there working out and doing the things that you're doing for your body and eating right, that's that irradiation that you're putting into the gemstone called fill in the blank with your name. And that's what the world sees. That's how how you interact with the light. And they may not know that it took 10 million electron volts to create you. But you know. You know. You know what you've done. You know what it meant to you. You know how you got there. How you created that color. When you know that you know what you know. You walk into a room as a teacher. Somebody I know right now who is going to become a teacher. She's taken the years of experience that she has and has transformed, have gone from the physical, who wants to go from the physical work, the actual work that she was doing, and now wants to take that knowledge, that years of training, that who she is as a person now teach others. Isn't that what the relationship with Obi-Wan had with Luke Skywalker? I know it's a movie, but what was the lesson in that? Just like I know that this is a gemstone. This is a topaz. This is topaz. But because I know what it is, because I know how it was made, because I know what it meant, I understand the story. And because I understand the story, when I get that topaz, when I look at topaz, I understand the value of it. Yeah, look at it. Same stone. Same stone. People ask me, what's my favorite? It's so hard. I mean, pearls is always it for me. But look at this. This is topaz. You're born in a month. Those of you, my November babies, November children, okay? I'm old, so, okay. You guys are born on this month. Have a whole new concept of what topaz is. I know people who hate topaz. Oh, it's so boring because all they see is one color. No. Topaz has a hardness of 8. Topaz can be shaped. Topaz can be polished. Topaz can be colorless. This is topaz. This is topaz. Look at the colors. Look at the way the light interacts. How many of you are doing jobs and this is the way people see you? And it's easy to talk about the doctors, the lawyers, but let's talk about the nurses. Let's talk about the teachers. Let's talk about the bus drivers. Let's talk about the my brother who is a sanitation engineer. He's a garbage man. And when my brother talks about driving that truck and delivering that garbage and stuff, you like, man. And yet when I told him about what I do and how everything is, he said it before I said it. The importance of science. And he said, yeah, everything is science. This is the man, my youngest brother, who drives a garbage truck. And I was so proud that not only he understood what I did, but he understood the importance of garbage. He sees materials at the far end, the garbage, but yet he still understands that science is everything. He's manifest his job. He loves driving. He's always loved trucks. And he's manifest his job. He became that job. Now he speaks of his job on a spiritual level. How many of us can do the same things with what we do, of who we are, what we manifest? That's what it means for all the gemstones. It's just each one has its own characteristics. Each one has its own way of reaching you. And when I say each one has its own way, it's really it really depends on what you believe. How is that any different than what you can do? If thousands of years that people looked at this gemstone and just said, yeah, this is topaz. This is the stone of manifestation. This is the stone of self-awareness. This is a stone of increased creative imagination. Because like I said, topaz is the big sister of citrine. So all the characteristics that we talked about with citrine, topaz has all of them. And they have all of them on another level. That's what it is. These are all topaz. This is who you are. You are variations of the manifestations of what you want to be. So what I want you to get out of today's lesson, yeah, this is still topaz. What I want you to get out of today's lesson, that manifestation is through a story. Manifestation of anything is through the story that you have to tell yourself in order for it to happen. And because once you understand your story, that's where value comes from. Not value from what they see, value you see in yourself. So as always, as I tell you all the time, nothing has value without a story. So I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you take time to think about what I'm saying. And as I say to you every week, please take a moment to look at your life. Do your job today. Do whatever you do. Think about what would happen if you weren't there, and understand and discover the value of your own story. So enjoy your day. Happy birthday to my November babies. Please subscribe. And as always, my name is Barry B. Mixon, and I am a gemological storyteller. And I'll see you next week. Au revoir. Atatella. Voila.